back with you, hope you're okay. Today we're in a place called Wyke. It's an ancient crossroads between some bigger places like Brighouse, Huddersfield, Bradford, Halifax, and there is a crossroads here that's known as Hellfire Crossroads or Hellfire Corner. It got its name back in the 1940s, possibly even longer than that, because of a number of very strange incidents that happened in this area. So before we actually get to Hellfire Corner, I'll tell you some of the information away from there. Obviously it's a very busy crossroads, and likewise I don't want to distract those drivers and cause more crashes. But the reason it's called Hellfire Corner is to do with the large number of fatal accidents that have occurred there over the last decade, perhaps more fatal accidents than anywhere else. And a lot of it is down to people saying they've seen things. Now the first of these was in about 1940, and a driver caused a fatal crash at Hellfire Corner. He survived the crash, but he said the reason he crashed was that he was distracted by a white light that appeared to rise up out of the trees of the woods nearby. And that's not the only time that happened, but remember this was 1940, this was before the 1950s when there was a boom of everybody seeing UFOs. But it was just the first of many. The next reported sighting was in 1977. I think it was a Mrs. Fowler, and she came across what looked like to her a silver shining hat-shaped object floating about a metre off the ground here at the crossroads that we're about to come to. There was fire underneath it, which she said was connecting it to the floor, and it floated for a little while before heading straight upwards into the sky and vanishing from sight. Between 1977 and 1981, there were a lot of different sightings. Obviously there's no proof or pictures of any of these, but because of that interest in paranormal activity that was going on here, the woods nearby, which we'll head to after Hellfire Corner, became known as Wyke Woods Flap, and they were plagued by people coming searching for UFOs and other activity. So here we are, this is Hellfire Corner, next to the famous White Lion pub. This is where the crossing is. Calderdale is that way, Bradford is that way, Leeds is that way, Brighouse that way. So this has been the site of numerous accidents and sightings. Now we're in the nearby Judy Woods, also known as the Wyke Woods Flap, and the sightings continued. Between 77 to 81, there were many reports of lights moving around in the sky, quite high up. Whilst they were up there, they would split and almost dance around and then vanish altogether. Remember, this is before drones, we're going back 40 years. 1981, there was a fatal bus crash at Hellfire Corner. A driver of the bus survived, but once again he said he was distracted by a white smoke and light that seemed to come out of the woods here. We're going to have a little explore of Judy Woods, and we may well find some answers as to what caused those lights here at the Wyke Woods Flap. What's happened to this tree? Has it been struck by lightning? Fire? You're right in the middle. So in 1981, when this hotbed of UFOs spotted in the woods was at its height, a lot of the children refused to go and play in the woods. What they said was that when they came into the woods, they could spot lights in the trees, so they were just too frightened to come into the woods. After 1981, it seemed things died down a bit. There haven't really been any reported sightings since then. Now obviously it's one of those stories where you can decide for yourself. Was there a lot of UFO activity in this area, or any other paranormal activity? Or was there some other explanation? Now some of those explanations that have been brought forward are to do with things that happened in these woods centuries before. What explanations have been brought up? Well, one of them, when it's to do with the lights in the woods here in Judy Woods. This place, centuries ago, was extensively mined. And the remains in these woods of 70 mines altogether. What can happen with those mines is that they can still collapse, and we've seen evidence of that when we've been walking through the woods today. Big holes in the ground. If that mine collapses, it's going to send things out of the trees, and who knows what's amongst it. It could be things like natural phosphorescence, or some of them are even mineral mines. One explanation. Secondly, there have been some people who have said that they are just natural earth lights. Now, I don't know exactly what that is, and if you do, perhaps you can tell me. There seems to be some description of natural balls of light that can form with energy briefly and disappear. Possibly they're things that can form in the woods. But with 40 years removed from the last sighting here, remember that happened around the same time as the sightings and the policemen being captured in Tottenham at Studley Pike. Maybe, just maybe, they were linked. You'll never know. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I will see you on the next video. Take care.
Matt! Matt, where are you? Matt?